I hadn't told anyone at work that day. It was too important to me. And what does being sober a year mean to someone who hasn't done it? In AA, they call it your birthday. Tonight will be my first AA birthday. My name will be on a cake. And I don't even like cake, and I'm acting like it's the most important night of my life. Considering how far I've come, maybe it is. After treatment, I started going to Alcoholics Anonymous, simply because it was the only way I could think of to stay sober once I got out. And slowly, by listening, and listening was hard at first, I began to learn about AA, how it worked and why it worked. I learned that if your problem was substance abuse, there were other 12-step programs, but that AA's only reason for existence
was recovery from alcoholism. That it wasn't an organization to help people get jobs, and it wasn't an organization to help you solve your marital problems, your financial problems. They weren't selling anything, they weren't advocating anything, and they weren't trying to do anything except help someone who wanted to stop drinking find a way to see to it that they never had to take another drink if they didn't want to.
But this doesn't mean that we don't welcome people in a very important way who have other problems. We all have other problems. Now, someone might have a problem with drugs or some other compulsion or addiction and also have a problem with alcohol. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. If you have a desire to stop drinking, you belong here.
It might work out perfectly well for the people with other problems. They can say, sure, you know, I recognize what they're saying, but for those of us that are just alcoholics, that's the main problem, and that's where the singleness of purpose is so important, because that's the only thing that we're trying to fix.
I guess the first few weeks out of treatment were the hardest. I hadn't gotten any kind of contact person to help me with the transition back into my regular life, and that was nearly my downfall. I don't think I really heard what people had been telling me.
In the facility, a lot of times people just come through. They may chair a meeting, or they may see them at an outside meeting. It's good to formulate friendships with these people and use them as a temporary contact for when you get out, you have somebody to call that can take you to your first meeting, can introduce you to some prospective sponsors.
In my case, my contact came up to the hospital to meet me before I was discharged. She came up twice and made sure that I had her phone number and assured me, to call her, and that her function was simply to take me around to meetings when I got out of the hospital so that I would feel comfortable, so that I would have someone to go with.
You don't have to make a permanent commitment to those people, that you'll be their friends always or anything. They're there to serve. They're there to help, and they'll come because somebody did that for them. And you can't ever give back what you got, but you can pass it on.
The first week out, I had a slip. Then I caught on pretty fast that if I didn't go to meetings, I'd be back where I started. So every night I'd go to a different meeting. Some would be open meetings where everyone's welcome, and some would be closed meetings just for alcoholics. But after the novelty wore off, I started to feel the same old urges coming back. And that's when I began to understand the importance of finding a home group.
I showed up there every single week, and gradually people got to know me. They recognized my face. They saw me there every week. And gradually people got comfortable talking to me, and I got comfortable talking to them. And in time, I began to develop friendships with people. It wasn't easy at first. At first, I just had to make myself show up early and stay late and smile at everybody. I don't make friends easily. That may be part of the reason that I drank. But in time, just by showing up week after week and seeing the same faces, gradually I began to make friends.
You can start by setting up chairs or cleaning ashtrays or volunteering to make coffee, or just by identifying, which may be as much as you can do at the beginning. But keep going back on a regular basis and adopt one particular group as your home group.
I had been told that the advantage in that was that those people would get to know me, perhaps even better than I knew me, and that if I was having difficulties, they would maybe spot it before I would.
It'll be in your home group that people will say, "How are you doing?" And you'll say, "Fine," and they'll go, "No, really, how are you doing?" And they'll listen to you, and they're willing to risk our wrath, to give whatever little assistance and aid or comfort that they can. The home group is a place that keeps us true to ourselves. Those are the people that are going to give me the greatest opportunities to grow, because they'll be helping, they'll be directing me on the road.
Well, it's like an anchor. It's your home in AA. And the suggestion to have a home group is not a suggestion not to go to a lot of other meetings. It's just a suggestion to find, well, perhaps the easiest way to say it is just to find a home. That's your home in AA.
Once I got established in a home group, it was a lot easier to get a sponsor. And that was a big step for me in coming to terms with the changes I needed to make to stay sober.
Now, a sponsor means only someone who will help you through your early stages of sobriety and to work the AA program, because sponsorship is very important in AA, and everyone needs help when they first come into the AA program. So someone around your own age of the same sex who has good sobriety can help you get through the first stages and give you moral support, primarily in keeping you sober until you can get rid of that urge to drink.
Sponsors are the people that you look at them and they have something. You know, sometimes it's just the clothes they're wearing. Sometimes it might be the car they drive. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I couldn't pick an ideal person. But these people had a certain something, and what it does is creates a desire to emulate. What it took for me was a leveling of my own pride, because when you ask someone to be your sponsor, this is the first step in leveling that pride that says, I can't do it alone.
You don't have to take the first person that you talk to, and they don't have to take you either. It's a fit where you try to mesh. You feel each other out a little bit and maybe ask a question and see what sort of advice you get and see if you can live with that advice.
It's something that should be done quickly. I don't think it's something you have to linger on for months or go to 1,012 meetings before you can decide who is going to be your sponsor.
Listen to the people. And when somebody starts making real sense to you, then talk to that person about being your sponsor. Because you want somebody who has what you want. If you don't want what they have, then there's no point in going to them. You need to find somebody else, and it doesn't take too long.
When I first came to AA, just not drinking seemed to be good enough. But after a while, I wanted more. It was pretty easy to see that the people who had what I wanted, the joy and the ease and the peacefulness that I wanted, were people who had worked what they call the 12 steps.
And you should try to work those 12 steps as soon as you possibly can, as you feel well with the steps when you come into the program. Now, you don't have to rush into them at all. The first one is to admit the fact that you're an alcoholic and that your life was unmanageable.
They are numbered. It is suggested that you take them in the order that they are numbered. At no time are you asked to do them perfectly. You simply do the best you can with each step.
And it's all very basic in that they kind of point out that I have to let go and stop feeling bad about everything that happened to me in the past. I have to start feeling better about myself in the world, gain a little self-worth after the complete ego smashing that I went through to get to the program in the first place.
Well, I began to work the steps, and gradually they became part of my life. My sponsor helped me a lot with that, and I guess I began to relax a little and look around me and notice that this thing was working in spite of the fact that I'd never been a joiner and I didn't believe in it really. It was working in spite of me, and there was a reason for it. Somewhere along the line in AA's history, through trial and error, they found out that some ways of conducting things in the fellowship were better than others, and they wrote them down as sort of bylaws and called them traditions. I'd hear terms like anonymity, non-affiliation, self-support, and they were only words until I really listened to what they meant to the members.
One might think because an AA meeting is held at a particular church that it's affiliated with a church or some religious society, or that it's affiliated with a particular treatment facility, because AA meetings are held there and AA is discussed there as part of the treatment. But Alcoholics Anonymous is totally independent and totally separate from any other organization, and it's very important for AA that it be that way.
I feel good inside that AA is self-supporting and can do that without going to the outside world and asking for funds. The program works because we do it ourselves. And I know, just from my experience, that's the only way it's going to work.
There's also a sense of accomplishment if you're paying your own bills. So many of us came in and we had never been responsible for anything, and suddenly it is our responsibility to keep this fellowship afloat. Uncle Sam's not going to come in and bail us out. United Crusade is not going to come in and bail us out. It's us.
In AA, we come and we all sit on the same level. Nobody's better than anybody else, and nobody's less than anybody else in an AA meeting. It's something that you can feel better than I can articulate. Another reason for anonymity that I see is there are people that would prefer that society at large not know that they are alcoholic. It might affect their job if they're young people. They don't want their parents to know right now or whatever. And we just need to honor people's privacy with anonymity. So that's why we say in a lot of meetings that I attend that what you hear in this meeting, you let it stay in this meeting. And the people that I associate with practice that well. That's why they're my friends. One of the reasons.
I don't break anyone else's anonymity. If they choose to do that in a situation, that's fine, but it's not my place to reveal that anyone is in AA. I went to some meetings in my husband's hometown, and my mother-in-law was most anxious to have me tell her who was at the meetings. And I had to explain to her that, it's not for me to tell her who was there. That would be breaking the tradition. And so she had to settle for that.
There have been stars who let it be known that they were members of Alcoholics Anonymous, and then within a few weeks they might have hit the front page again with a story about how they've been picked up driving drunk or doing something drunk.
People look at things like that and they think that AA doesn't work. But what they don't realize, because of course nobody says anything, we stay quiet with ourselves, is when you come into Alcoholics Anonymous, you are walking into a room of people just like you. They don't want their anonymity broken any more than you want yours broken. So they're going to protect you because you're going to protect them.
So a year has passed since I've had a drink, and I'm proud of me. Maybe the hardest thing I had to learn and the most valuable is that, as crazy as it sounds, you just don't pick up the first drink. And you do it a day at a time, sometimes an hour at a time. It's been the bravest thing I've ever done because I had to put my sobriety first and respect myself. And I needed to grow up to do that. At times it was hard, but I didn't have to do it alone. And you don't either.